Awesome. So, as I said, the contents will be covering definition of progressive web apps, terms, definition, and advantages. So, progressive web app, a web application that uses services worker, manifest, and the other web platform features in combination with progressive enhancement to give users an experience as per native apps. So from a definition here, there are some terms, we have seen them. We have workers, service workers, and we have this manifest. So service worker essentially act as a proxy server that sit between web applications browser and the network when available. They intend, among other things, to enable the creation of effective offline experience, intercept network requests, and take appropriate action based on whether the network is available and update assets residing on the server. They will also allow access to push notifications and background sync APIs. And the web app manifests are part of a collection of web technologies called progressive web apps, WPAs, which are websites that can be installed to a device home screen with an app store. Unlike regular web apps with a simple home screen link or bookmarks, progressive web apps can be downloaded in a device and can work offline as well as user regular web app APIs. Now say a web application manifesting has defined in web application manifest specification, provided information about a web application in JSON text files necessary for web app to be downloaded and be presented to the user similarly to a native app. Example installed on the home screen of a device, providing user with quicker access and richer experience. PWA manifest include its name, author, icons, version, descriptions, and list of the necessary resources. So we have seen the core definition of it, and we have seen these two terms, which is service workers and this manifest. Now, to get to clear here, when we talk about this web or progressive web application, is a type of development of a web with technologies in which when you reach a time that you deploy your site, you deploy it in 3 versions. You are going to have a mobile versions, which will be Android and iOS. And thirdly, you're going to have a version which will be in a web version. So it's something very nice that you can install your website to your phone, like the other applications that you take from iStores or Play Stores. So the same, you just develop your website, and when it comes a time that you deploy it, you can deploy it with Android version, you can deploy it with the iOS version, and you can have a version of a website. So we have some numbers of advantages of these progressive web applications. The first one is discoverability. We say the eventual aim that web apps should have better representation in rich engine, be easier to explore, catalog and rank, and have metadata usable by browser to give them special capabilities. The second is the installability. A core part of web experience is for users to have app icon on their own native container. that feel nicely integrated with underlying platforms. Modern web app can have this native feel via properties set inside the web app manifest and via a feature available in modern smartphone browser called web apps. So these two advantages, as we have seen here, that means the installability, that you are able to install your site to your phone. So you can access it like the way you access the other apps. But also it is easier to be discovered. Another, we say this is achievable using a combination of technologies: service worker to control pages request, for example, storing them offline; the cache API for storing response to the network request offline; and client-side data storage technologies such as web storage and index database to store applications data offline. So when we talk about these service workers and the other one that we have seen, the manifest, actually it helps you a lot when it comes, because when you are able to install your site in a phone, that means there is other capabilities that are built in. That means if you don't have even much internet on it, still you can access your web. Another advantage, we say progressive enhancement support. Modern web app can be developed to provide an excellent experience to fully capable browser and an acceptable, although not quite as Shane, experience to less capable browsers. We have re-engagementability. One major advantage of native platform is the ease with which user can be rearranged by updates and new content, even when they aren't looking at the app or using their devices. Modern web app can do this too. Using new technology such as Service Worker for controlling pages, the Web Push API for sending update straight from the server to the app via Service Worker, and the notifications APIs for generating system notification to help engage users when they are not actively using their browsers. Another, we have these linky abilities, or we say linkability. One of the most powerful features of the ability to link to an app act as a specific URL without the need for one app store or complex installation process. Fourth, network independent. Modern web apps can work when network is unreliable or even no existence. The basic idea, network independence, are to be able to, one, revisit a site and get its content even if no network is available. Browser and the kind of content the user has previously visited at least once, even under situations of poor connection. So we say this achieves using the combination of the technologies, as I have explained it before, which are these workers to control the pages and requests. For example, the storing them offline, the cache API for storing response to network requests offline, and the client-side data storage technology such as web storage and the index to store application data offline. Now, here, another thing to add on top is, for example, if you have experience in developing a single page application, normally, when I was learning about it, I was getting confused that why do they call a single page application? I thought that it is one page that has everything within, meaning that, for example, I have maybe like 3 title pages: home, maybe services, about us, and facilities, taking an example. So for example, when I click like about, then it scrolls me down to about. That's what I was understanding before, the concept. But when we talk about single page application, it's like a page load once, and every information are stored with a cache to your browser. So that means when you request a resource from your site, then this request is not sent to the server. Okay, so it's just already when you load it at once. That means the request will be sent to the server, and you get back the response. And when you get those response, then they are stored to your browser. So when you fetch again, or when you navigate again to the page, that means you don't need the request is not sent again to the server, because the data has been stored to your browser. That is the whole concept of when we talk about single page application. And that's what now, when we develop web using this progressive web application, it's like the same concept you take. That's why we have seen that sometimes you might have not even an internet, but you can still navigate the resources. It's like a single page application when you develop. You sometimes a network can be off, but you can be able to access the other pages. So number 7, you have responsiveness. Responsive web app use technologies like media queries and viewports to make sure that the UIs will fit any form factor, desktop, mobile, tablets, or whatever comes next. So when you do or you develop your web with this kind of technology, meaning that it has to be responsive. Because we have seen that the main goal or the great factor here, you can install your site to your phone. So it has to be responsive, because we normally know that phone is like a smaller devices which can have maybe 5 inches or 5.6 inches, you see. So you need, for example, you have your site, if someone visits, he has to see everything clear. So it has to be responsive. 8 is secure. The web platform provides a secure delivery mechanism that presents snooping with simultaneously ensuring that content hasn't been tampered with, as long you take advantage of HTTPs and develop your apps with the security in mind. Normally, when we develop anything, it might be a web application or a web, but we have to consider security, because we normally know that when you deploy it to the server, a lot of people can try to tamper and see if it's secure, or maybe they can try to take down your site. So security is something very great to consider it. And we say it is also easier for user to ensure that they are installing the right app, because its URL will match your site's domain. This is very different from apps in App Store, which may have a number of similarity named apps, some of which may even be based on your own site, which add to the confusions. Web apps eliminate that confusion and ensure that users get the best possible experience. Now, here what I can say is, when you have apps in the app stores or iOS or on iStores, meaning that there's a lot of there's a possibilities of matching sometimes names or whatever. But when you come to web app, meaning that normally you need to have a specific domain for your website. So that domain, or it's the URL of it, is what it will be taken as a small icon that will be shown after after you have installed the application on your mobile. So the confusion about it, it's eliminated, because there's no possibility of these names to match. Number 9, we say browser support. As mentioned before, PWA don't depend on single API, but rather using various technologies to achieve the goal, delivering the best web experience possible. So this is just the end part of progressive web application. Thank you for listening, guys.